present to you Honourable George and Candace Farmer.
Candace Owens' marriage, puppet or partner? I had done a video on this too, how they met, their biographies, and the conspiracy theories under those videos got me thinking, and I asked myself, is there something I'm missing? What am I missing? So I decided to go deeper. I went deep into the ocean, okay? I lost myself way inside the ocean to come back 7 times and do this video for you. So please like it. Now, let's get into the video. Behind every powerful figure, there is a story that is rarely told. For Candace Owens, one of the most polarizing voices in American conservatism, that story just might be her marriage. Because when you look at her personality, yeah, there are a lot of things there. But you know one thing that stands out? Her marriage. Is her relationship with George Farmer, the British-born son of a wealthy political family, a genuine partnership or a carefully crafted alliance that amplifies her influence? Very critical questions. Some critics argue she's a product of a larger machine molded by powerful bankers or backers. Others see a strong-willed, independent thinker who found a partner equally committed to her vision. Well, when we did George's history, you know he said when he met Candace, he found a woman he did not mind letting shine while he stayed in the background. But is that all that there is to it? Today, we are diving deep into the powerful couple paradox, exploring what their marriage reveals about the interplay of politics, power, and personal life. Section 1. The power couple paradox. Candace Owens has built her brand as a fierce, uncompromising commentator. She thrives on controversy, taking on establishment narratives and projecting an image of independence and fearlessness. I did a video dissecting her media persona as well as her media playbook. If you've not watched that video, it is a must watch. Please go look into it. Now, enter George Farmer after Candace. Wealthy, Oxford educated, with deep ties to British conservatism. On the surface, their union has all the trappings of a classic powerful couple. Appearances together project elegance, confidence, and shared purpose. But does that mean equality in partnership or a dynamic where one voice amplifies the other? When I did their stories, especially George's meeting with Candace, he said it. He doesn't mind letting her shine. But is that all there is to it? Behind the curtains, public versus private. Public appearances tell one story. Social media posts, interviews, and speeches often show the couple aligning in messaging, both Christian, conservative, anti-establishment. But are these glimpses curated for the public eye? Watch closely at joint appearances, subtle body language, who leads conversations, who steps back. Does Candace dominate the stage, or does Farmer's presence anchor or legitimize her? And in private anecdotes, do we see unfiltered moments of partnership or carefully staged snapshots meant to reinforce a brand? The Farmer factor, influence or coincidence? George Farmer's background is significant. His father, Lord Farmer, is a Conservative Party donor in the UK. George himself was once CEO of Parler, a social media platform aligned with the right-wing free speech politics. The question is, did this marriage accelerate Candace Owens' trajectory? Was her rise purely organic, fueled by her own intellect and charisma, or did Farmer's connection and financial stability provide her with a springboard into elite conservative circles?
Call up our other panelists in a
Yes.
sec. Candace, I'll introduce one of them. You introduce the one you know best.
Sure.
So you'll be introducing Joel. I'll be introducing George.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So we have 2 other great local UK patriots here that we'd like to call up. Joel and George come up here. Candace, why don't you talk about George a little bit? Joel is one of our influencers here, and George is a close friend, someone that Candace has got to know pretty well. Joel is from Sussex, right? From Brighton, we're going there tomorrow. I hear there's going to be a couple of everyone's going to agree with everything we say down there. So, Candace, introduce George.
George is the chairman of Turning Point UK, and also my fiance. Fell in love here in the UK.
Look at the timeline. Owens' influence skyrocketed in the years after their marriage. Coincidence or cause and effect? That is a question that it calls for debate. You can argue as much as possible that it is not coincidence. Or you can also tell me, you know what? I think that her skyrocketing after her marriage is a sign that something about George had something to do with her skyrocketing. I have a very interesting theory. I will drop it at the end of this video. Stay tuned. And it has to do with Andrew Tate. Please stay tuned. A very, very controversial friend, Andrew Tate. Section 4, the puppet argument. Critics see Candace Owens as more than a firebrand. They argue she's a carefully managed asset. There are many people who like calling her the name a grifter, and it has moved from grifter to controlled opposition. That is quite interesting. They point to how seamlessly her rhetoric often aligns with institutional conservative talking points. Remember, before she married George Farmer, she was not Catholic. Then, soon after she married him, not so long ago, she converted in 2024 to Catholicism. And since then, it seems like that is the only religion she finds really attractive in her eyes or even true in her view. They highlight Farmer's financial network, suggesting her platform may be as much about access and backing as about personal conviction. This is what I will tell you. One thing is certain. Candace Owens will not voice some of the things she has been voicing or attack some of the figures she has been attacking without fear if she did not know she had a certain level of financial backing. Do you think it is every podcaster with a microphone and a platform that will feel comfortable attacking the First Lady of France? Do you think so? Or do you think it's every podcaster that has the effrontery to call Trump out? I know some of us are nobodies, but we still call him out. But to go on personal attacks with the First Lady of France, it takes a certain level of effrontery backed by financial or institutional backing. Is she being positioned as the charismatic voice of a broader agenda, with George Farmer as the quiet architect? For some, the puppet acumen frames her less as an independent commentator and more as a spokesperson of power. Section 5, the partner perspective.
You know, without Candace, I don't know what I would be. I would be nothing. You know, I'd be insignificant. We're a partnership. Everything we do is a partnership. You know, we are, like, to draw a popular metaphor, it's like the Game of Thrones, the Song of Ice and Fire. You know, she's fire, I'm ice. You know, we kind of match. It's just, it's a beautiful relationship.
But there is another angle. Owens has proven time and time again that she can hold her own. From the get-go, even before she met this man, George, she has always been that one who can hold her own. You can ask the Black community in the United States. They will tell you how much Candace Owens can hold her own. Her interviews and debates show sharp intellect, quick wit, and an independence of thought that doesn't always fall neatly in line with establishment conservatism. And even when she was not conservative, she was always a very sharp-witted sword or two-edged sword who could cut at any time. In fact, some of her takes on issues ranging from vaccines to foreign policy have diverged from mainstream conservative orthodoxy. This suggests she isn't simply reading from a script. Seen through this lens, her marriage isn't about control. It's about alignment. Two people with shared values combining resources and influence to amplify her vision, a true partnership where each strengthens the other. But then, Is that all that there is to it? I have a theory. Now, let me do my conclusion and I give you my theory. And this theory involves Andrew Tate. Stay tuned. So, is Candace Owens a puppet molded by a powerful network with her husband's influence pulling strings behind the scenes? Or is she a partner, an independent, formidable voice whose marriage only reinforces what she would have accomplished anyways? Maybe the truth lies somewhere in between. Perhaps her marriage is both a source of personal support and a strategic alliance. In politics, the lines between love and leverage is always very, very blurry. And if you look at how fast their liaison moving towards reunion, moving towards marriage was orchestrated, you will have a little bit to think. I'm not saying that is all there is to it. There are couples who have met in 2 days and they knew they were meant for each other. But these two have a certain spice or anchor to them that sets people's alarm bells off all the time. It doesn't matter how you take it. There is something about these two that sets people alarm bells. But what do you think? Candace Owens' marriage, is it the foundation of her independence or the framework of her influence? Now, this is my theory. I want you to just put yourself in a calm position. George Farmer has said in interviews that he knew Andrew Tate before Andrew Tate was ever Andrew Tate.
He's very vocal about that. You've known Andrew Tate for a number of years. You were just with him for that interview, which is controversial in some circles. Why is it that Andrew Tate has captured so much attention? What void was there that he stepped into?
Yeah, that's a great question. And yeah, I've known Andrew for many, many years. I've known Andrew since before Andrew was Andrew. You know what I mean? I've known Andrew since before he was famous, I guess. Andrew is a great guy. He really is, and he's a wonderful guy in many ways. Like all humans, he's flawed, and I actually think that he would probably be off camera. I think he would be the first person to admit that. Like he's a flawed human being.
Do you remember between 2020 to 2022 or 2023, Andrew Tate was the most researched or most Googled person in the world? I mean, in the entire world, Andrew Tate became the most Googled person. You could not turn left, right, center without noticing Andrew Tate. He was everywhere. His influence is subsiding slowly. When Candace Owens met her husband in 2019, I think, it wasn't long. She had an encounter with Andrew Tate. Then they were very quite a young couple. During that encounter, she said her assistant told her that this guy is a pimp. She said, "What do you mean?" She said, "He's a pimp." Then I think she was still getting to know Andrew Tate and her husband. And with time, I think she has realized that her husband has close ties with Andrew Tate, which is why she has not stopped defending this guy in public, despite the fact that her religious and conservative values are complete opposite and everything against what Andrew Tate stands for. It doesn't matter how many times she pretends that Andrew Tate has changed. The guy has not changed. Right down to 2025, he's still a piece of, I'm not going to lose my morals over Andrew Tate. But then, look at it. After that time, George Farmer knew Andrew Tate before he ever became Andrew Tate. And the truth and the value or whatever it has to do with their relationship has never been completely explained to us. That is a subject they dodge faster. Faster than Candace Owens could file a dismissal in court, despite the fact that she told others she would not file a dismissal. That is a relationship they keep dodging. And every time you see Candace Owens in public or her husband and you ask a question about Andrew Tate, they are so careful the way they answer it. They skip here and there. Candace Owens will fly to Romania to have an interview with Andrew Tate, but she's not asking him or pushing him back. She goes there with no research or she just decides not to have the back of her mind reminding her of the truth. Because this guy will say, "I said those things 10 years ago," and she said yes. Meanwhile, there is evidence everywhere. The rate at which Candace Owens researched people's backgrounds. Candace Owens will know which dog or which pet you greeted once in your life, but she wants to tell me that she was not able to catch what Andrew Tate has been up to. And he sat in front of her and lied so many times and she didn't catch up to it. No, the reason she did not catch up to it is deliberate. She did that interview to soften his personality, to make him palatable, not to hold him accountable. And the reason she did that, I have a theory, has to do with her husband. I think, allegedly, everything in this video is alleged. If I've not said it from the beginning, in fact, I'll put it at the beginning of this. Everything in this video is alleged. I think that, in my private opinion, personal opinion, which is not changing anybody's life, Andrew Tate is a product of George Farmer, and so is Candace Owens. That is my theory. I have had this theory for over 6 months, and every time I dismiss it, when I look at every research I do on Candace Owens or Andrew Tate or Candace Owens' husband, it gives me the ear. Do you know who is the most popular person now who is rising to the same kind of fame Andrew Tate had in 2020 to 2023? Please, you can drop it in the comments. Who is that? Yeah, yes, Joshua, you in the back? No, Joshua, you've changed your mind. Okay. Yes, what about you, Hassan from Israel? Oh, exactly. Candace Owens. Candace Owens is the most popular person, and she is doing this using the same method. When I discussed Candace Owens' media playbook, there was something I left out, and it was not long. Some of you were commenting in the comment section. She used the Andrew Tate playbook. She did not miss the Andrew Tate playbook. She used it. The difference is this. Andrew Tate used the playbook in the side of something that has to do with, all the allegations against him. You know that. Putting women in front of cameras, using them, all of that. Then Candace Owens is using it in the form of putting herself in position she shouldn't, talking about people that she has not had anything, she has not understood or gotten, or she has decided to personally let go of any evidence of it and just put it out there, because she will tell you she has evidence of something and she will never present it. She will just drag us around the world, and that's the same thing Andrew Tate was doing. Andrew Tate would drag people around the world saying things about the big G, the big G, the big G, the big G, the big G. Big G, big G, big G, hashtag big G. Nothing has happened. Same thing Candace Owens is doing. And before you know it, I believe George Farmer will bring another product. That guy, he is quiet, very subtle. But you see men like that. Something about George tells me that he is a very high power player. That's my theory. That's my theory. Personal. Everything in this video alleged. Okay? My theory, George Farmer, he knows what he's doing. His first product, or maybe that was not the first, but that was the first we could tell, was Andrew Tate and his brother. And his second product, Candace Owens. That is my theory. Well, let me know in the comment section what you think about this too. Is Candace Owens a puppet or a partner in crime or in success? Until next time. Bye.
The YouTube influencer grow, like the whole class of people as YouTube influencers grow. I think there's also, I would give credit to somebody like Nigel Farage. Nigel has basically been and I've known Nigel for many years, and he's a great personal friend, but Nigel took what was an unpopular topic and a boring topic from being a kind of, irrelevant mundanity of the UK political scene into being a global discussion.
Yes.
And he did it earlier than anybody else.
Yes.
And his viral clips were kind of,
exactly,
really, really big. I mean, the first viral clips I ever watched in my late kind of teenage years, like 2007, 2008, 2009, were of Nigel Farage, being like, who are you?
Yeah.
You look like a Swiss bank account clerk. Who are you? And he's standing up in the European Parliament insulting Herman von Rompuy,
Yes.
Who at the time was the president of the European Commission, I think. But, he really did a lot for kind of making virality a thing. And that then became in and of itself a whole kind of, I don't want to say an industry, but it became much more of a thing. It became like, how can you create the viral clip?
Right.
How can you replicate what Nigel Farage is doing?
And who did it best in America?
Well, Trump.
Trump.
Of course, yeah.
And I kind of wonder if that moment is linked to his ascendancy.
Yeah.